Marcus Chen wiped the sweat from his forehead and checked his watch. 3 in the morning. The xenobiology wing of New Terra Station was always quiet at this hour. Most of the scientists had gone home hours ago. Only the machines hummed in the darkness, keeping alien specimens alive in their controlled environments. He pushed his cleaning cart down the long corridor. The wheels squeaked against the metal floor. Marcus had been a janitor here for 15 years. He had seen many strange things in that time. Alien plants that glowed in the dark, insects with 6 wings, fish that could breathe air. But tonight would be different from all the others. As he passed the waste disposal area, Marcus heard a sound. It was soft and high-pitched, like a bird crying. He stopped and listened. There it was again. Coming from inside the disposal chute, Marcus opened the chute door carefully. The smell hit him first, something chemical and sharp. Then he saw it. A small crystalline egg about the size of a football. It was cracked down the middle. Strange liquid leaked from the crack. The liquid glowed with a soft blue light. Inside the egg, something moved. Marcus leaned closer. A tiny creature struggled inside. It had scales that changed colors in the light. Red, then gold, then silver. Small wings lay folded against its body. The wings were torn and bleeding. The creature's eyes opened for just a moment. They were bright and intelligent. Then they closed again. The creature was dying. Marcus could see that clearly. He should call security. He should follow the rules. There were strict protocols for handling unknown alien life forms. But Marcus thought of his daughter. She had died 5 years ago from a disease the doctors could not cure. He had held her hand as she slipped away. He had felt so helpless then. He still felt helpless now every single day. But right now, in this moment, he could do something. He could save this small life. Marcus reached into the chute and carefully lifted the egg. It was warm in his hands. The creature inside made that soft crying sound again. "Don't worry," Marcus whispered. "I've got you." He wrapped the egg in his jacket and placed it gently in his cleaning cart. He covered it with towels. Then he finished his shift as quickly as he could. His heart pounded the whole time. Security cameras watched every corridor. If they caught him, he would lose his job. Maybe worse, finally his shift ended. Marcus pushed his cart to the employee exit. The security guard barely looked at him. They never did. Nobody paid attention to janitors. That was one good thing about his job. He was invisible. Marcus lived in a small apartment in the residential sector of the station. It was not much. One room with a bed, a table, and a tiny kitchen. But it was home. He carried the egg inside and locked the door behind him. He placed the egg on his table under a warm lamp. Then he carefully peeled away more of the shell. The creature inside was so small. It fit in the palm of his hand. Its breathing was shallow and fast. Marcus had no idea what to do. He was not a scientist or a doctor. He was just a janitor, but he had raised a daughter. He knew how to care for something helpless and small. Marcus filled a bowl with warm water and gently cleaned the creature's wounds. He found some protein gel in his refrigerator. He had been saving it for his own breakfast, but the creature needed it more. He mixed it with water until it was thin enough to drip into the creature's mouth. At first, nothing happened. The creature lay still. Its scales had turned a dull gray color. Marcus felt his hope fading. Then the creature's tongue moved. Just a little. It licked the protein mixture from its lips. Its eyes opened slightly. Marcus spent the whole night caring for the creature. He gave it water drop by drop. He kept it warm. He cleaned its wounds again and again. He talked to it softly, the way he used to talk to his daughter when she was sick. As the sun began to rise outside the station windows, the creature's scales started to change color again. First to a soft pink, then to a warm amber. It opened its eyes fully. Those eyes looked at Marcus with something that seemed almost like gratitude. Then the creature made a sound. Not a cry this time. Something softer, like a purr. Marcus smiled for the first time in years. Really smiled. The creature was going to live. He had saved it. "I think I'll call you Ember," he said. The creature's scales glowed brighter as if she liked the name. Marcus knew he had made a dangerous choice. He had broken the law. He had put himself at risk. But as he watched Ember curl up in a nest of towels and fall into a peaceful sleep, he knew he would make the same choice again. Some rules were meant to be broken. Some lives were meant to be saved. Outside his window, New Terra Station orbited Earth in its endless circle. Millions of people lived and worked here. Humans and aliens from 100 different worlds, all following the rules, all staying in their proper places. But Marcus Chen, the invisible janitor, had just done something that would change everything. He just did not know it yet. 3 days passed. Ember grew in ways that Marcus could hardly believe. On the first morning, she was the size of a cat. By evening, she was as big as a medium dog. Her wings had healed completely. They stretched almost 3 feet wide when she opened them. Her scales shimmered with all the colors of fire, red and orange and gold and white. But it was not just her size that amazed Marcus. It was her intelligence. Ember understood him. When he spoke, she tilted her head and listened. When he pointed, she looked where he pointed. When he felt sad thinking about his daughter, Ember would curl up next to him and make that soft purring sound. Marcus had to work during the day. He could not stay home with Ember, so he left her in his apartment with food and water. He locked all the windows. He told her to stay quiet and hidden, and somehow Ember understood. She never made loud noises during the day. She never broke anything. She waited patiently for Marcus to come home. Every night after work, Marcus would research. He used his personal computer to search the station's public databases. He typed in words like dragon, reptile, flying lizard, and crystalline egg. Most searches gave him nothing useful, just information about Earth animals or common alien pets. But on the third night, Marcus found something. A single reference in an old xenobiology report. The word was draconid. The file was mostly blank. Most of the information had been removed or blacked out. But Marcus could read a few sentences. Draconids were an ancient species. They had lived across many galaxies for millions of years. They were highly intelligent. They could live for thousands of years. They had abilities that science could not fully explain. And then the file said something that made Marcus's blood run cold. Status extinct. Cause Galactic Council Protocol 7 Protocol 7. Marcus knew what that meant. It was the Council's code for total elimination. When a species was deemed too dangerous to exist, they used Protocol 7. It meant kill every single one, destroy every egg, erase them from the galaxy. The draconids had been murdered, all of them. And Ember might be the last one alive. Marcus felt sick. He looked at Ember. She was sleeping on his bed, her tail wrapped around her body. Her scales glowed softly in the dim light. She looked so peaceful, so innocent. How could anyone want to kill something so beautiful? He knew the answer. Fear. The Galactic Council feared what they could not control. And draconids could not be controlled. Marcus closed his computer. He would not let them find Ember. He would protect her no matter what. But he knew time was running out. Ember was growing so fast. Soon she would be too big to hide in his small apartment. And the station had sensors everywhere. Energy scanners, heat detectors, security cameras. On the 4th day, Marcus went to work as usual. But something felt wrong. The other janitors whispered to each other in the break room. Security guards walked through the xenobiology wing more often than normal. Marcus tried to act natural. He cleaned floors and emptied trash bins. But his hands shook. At lunch, Marcus sat in the cafeteria. The news screens on the wall showed a story about unusual energy readings in the residential sector. The reporter said station security was investigating. They were checking apartments one by one, looking for unauthorized equipment or illegal activities. Marcus's appetite disappeared. They were looking for Ember. They might not know exactly what they were looking for, but they would find her soon. The energy from her body was probably showing up on their scanners. He had to do something. But what? He could not run. There was nowhere to run on a space station. He could not hide Ember forever. She was too big now. Marcus returned to his quarters early. He told his supervisor he felt sick. It was not a lie. He did feel sick with worry. When he entered his apartment, Ember rushed to greet him. She had grown again. Now she was the size of a large dog. Her head came up to his chest. She made a happy sound and rubbed her head against his hand. "I know, girl," Marcus said softly. "I missed you too." He sat on the floor. Ember lay down next to him, her head in his lap. Marcus stroked her scales. They were warm and smooth, like polished metal. He could feel her heart beating, strong and steady. "They're coming for you," he told her. "I don't know how to stop them. I'm just one person, just a janitor. I don't have power or money or connections. I don't know how to fight the Galactic Council. Ember looked up at him. Her eyes were bright gold now. Old eyes, wise eyes. Eyes that had seen things Marcus could not imagine. She made a low sound. Not quite a growl. Not quite a hum. Something in between. And suddenly Marcus felt something he had not felt in years. Hope. Maybe he could not fight the Council. But he did not have to. He just had to keep Ember safe until she was strong enough to fight for herself. Or until someone came looking for her. Because if the Draconids were really extinct, then where did Ember come from? Someone must have hidden that egg. Kept it safe for years. Protected it. Maybe that someone was still out there. Still watching. Still waiting. Marcus made a decision. Tomorrow he would call in sick to work. He would spend the whole day with Ember. They would prepare for whatever came next. Because something was coming. Marcus could feel it in his bones. A storm was approaching. And when it arrived, nothing would ever be the same again. The door exploded inward at 4 a.m. Marcus jerked awake as 6 armed figures stormed into his apartment. They wore black armor with the symbol of the Galactic Council on their chests. Energy weapons pointed at him from every direction. Hands up! Don't move! One of them shouted. Marcus raised his hands slowly. His heart hammered in his chest. Ember was curled up on the bed behind him. She woke with a start. Her scales flashed bright red. A warning color. She hissed and small flames leaked from her nostrils. The lead enforcer stepped forward. He was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. Avraxian. His name tag read Commander Keshatar. His eyes were cold and black like empty space. Step away from the creature, human, Keshatar said. His voice was flat and emotionless. No, Marcus said. He was surprised by how steady his voice sounded. She's not a creature. Her name is Ember. Keshatar's mouth twisted into something that might have been a smile. But there was no humor in it. Only contempt. That thing has no name, he said. It is a Draconid. A prohibited species. Your foolish sentimentality has put this entire station at risk. She was dying, Marcus said. His voice grew louder, stronger. Someone threw her away like garbage. I saved her life. That's not foolish. That's called being decent. Decent? Keshatar laughed. It was a harsh sound, like metal scraping on metal. Humans always think they know better than everyone else. Always breaking rules. Always causing problems. Do you even know what Draconids are capable of? I know they were murdered, Marcus shot back. I know your council decided they were too dangerous to live. So you killed them all. Every single one. Even the babies. Even the eggs. That's not justice. That's genocide. The other enforcers shifted uncomfortably, but Keshatar did not flinch. He gestured to his team. 2 of them moved toward the bed. Toward Ember, Marcus stepped in front of them. He knew it was stupid. They could kill him with 1 shot. But he could not let them take Ember, not without a fight. Move aside, Keshatar ordered. No. You have 5 seconds to comply. Then you better start counting. Keshatar's eyes narrowed. He raised his weapon. Marcus closed his eyes. He thought of his daughter. He would see her again soon. At least he would die doing something right. But the shot never came. Instead, Marcus felt a wave of heat wash over him. He opened his eyes. Ember was standing on the bed. Her wings were spread wide. Her whole body glowed white-hot. Fire danced across her scales. The air around her shimmered and bent. And then she was gone. Just vanished in a burst of flame. The bed was scorched black where she had been standing. The smell of smoke filled the room. The enforcers stared in shock. Keshatar cursed in his own language. He grabbed Marcus by the front of his shirt and slammed him against the wall. Where did it go? He demanded. I don't know, Marcus said. And it was true. He had never seen Ember do anything like that before. Teleportation. She had teleported away. You're lying. Keshatar threw Marcus to the ground. He turned to his team. Search the entire sector. Every room. Every corridor. Find that Draconid before it grows any larger. And bring me this human. He's under arrest for violation of Protocol 7. 2 enforcers grabbed Marcus and pulled him to his feet. They locked metal restraints around his wrists. The restraints hummed with energy. Marcus felt a strange numbness spread through his arms, some kind of paralysis field. They dragged him out of his apartment, through the residential corridors, past his neighbors who stared with wide eyes, past security checkpoints where guards saluted the enforcers, down into the lower levels of the station where the holding cells were located. They threw Marcus into a small cell. The door slammed shut with a heavy clang. The walls were bare metal. There was a bench and a toilet. Nothing else. A single light in the ceiling cast harsh shadows. Marcus sat on the bench and put his head in his hands. He had failed. He had tried to protect Ember, but he was just one man, one insignificant janitor. What could he possibly do against the Galactic Council? Against their laws and their weapons and their enforcers? Hours passed, or maybe days. Marcus had no way to tell time. Guards brought him water and food paste. He ate without tasting it. He tried to sleep, but nightmares filled his mind. Nightmares of Ember being hunted, being caught, being killed. On what Marcus guessed was the second day, he heard the guards outside his cell talking. Their voices were nervous, frightened even. "Did you see the reports?" one guard said, "about the ships?" The other replied, "Yeah, I saw them." "What do you think it means?" "I don't know, but the Council is calling in every fleet they have. They're preparing for something big. You think it's a war? I hope not. Did you see how many ships there are? Hundreds of them, all just sitting there in orbit. Not attacking, not communicating, just waiting. What are they waiting for? I heard someone say they're looking for something. Or someone." The guards moved away and their voices faded. But Marcus had heard enough. Ships, hundreds of them. Waiting. Looking for something. Looking for Ember. Marcus stood and walked to the small window in his cell door. He could not see much. Just another corridor. But somewhere out there, above the station, above Earth, something was happening. Something the guards feared, and somehow Marcus knew. The Draconids were not extinct. They had been hiding, waiting. And now they had felt Ember's distress. They knew she was alive, and they were coming to get her. The Galactic Council had made a terrible mistake. They thought they could kill an entire species and get away with it. But they had only made the survivors angry. And now those survivors were here. Marcus smiled despite his situation, despite being locked in a cell, despite facing charges that could mean life in prison or worse. He smiled because he knew one thing for certain. The dragons had come home, and they were not happy. The sky above Earth had never seen anything like this. From pole to pole, from ocean to ocean, people stopped what they were doing and looked up. They saw the dragons. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. It was impossible to count them all. They were massive. Each one was larger than the biggest spaceship humanity had ever built. Their wings stretched for miles. Their scales reflected starlight in colors that had no names. Red and gold and silver in colors that seemed to shift and change as you watched them. They moved through space as easily as fish through water. No engines, no fuel. Just ancient power that science could not explain. The dragons arranged themselves in a perfect circle around New Terra Station. They did not attack. They did not threaten. They simply waited. But their presence was more terrifying than any weapon. Everyone who looked at them felt the same thing deep in their bones. These creatures were old. Older than human civilization. Older than the Galactic Council itself. And they were not pleased. On Earth, panic spread through every city. The news showed nothing but images of the dragons. Reporters struggled to find words. Military leaders held emergency meetings. Religious leaders prayed or meditated or performed rituals. Everyone understood that humanity was witnessing something extraordinary, something that would be remembered for thousands of years. On New Terra Station, the situation was even more tense. The station's defense systems had activated automatically. Weapons pointed at the dragons. Shields charged to maximum power, but everyone knew it was useless. These shields could not stop beings like this. These weapons could not hurt them. It would be like throwing rocks at a hurricane. In the station's command center, Admiral Torres stood frozen. She had served in the Galactic Defense Force for 30 years. She had fought pirates and rebels and hostile alien species, but she had never faced anything like this. The tactical display showed all the dragons as red dots. Each dot was marked as an extreme threat. The computer kept trying to calculate their power levels and failing. The numbers were too high. "Off the scale, Admiral," her communications officer said. His voice shook. "We're receiving a transmission. It's coming from one of them. Put it through," Torres said. She tried to sound calm, professional, but her hands gripped the edge of her command console so hard that her knuckles turned white. The main view screen flickered. Then it showed a dragon's face. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Ancient eyes that glowed like molten gold, scales that seemed carved from living jewels, teeth that could bite through starship hulls, and intelligence. Deep, patient, dangerous intelligence. When the dragon spoke, its voice filled the command center. It was not a sound exactly. It was more like a feeling, like the voice spoke directly inside everyone's mind. It spoke in perfect English, but also in every other language at the same time. Everyone heard it in their own native tongue. "I am Cyraxith, matriarch of the Draconid Primarchs," the voice said. "We have felt the cry of a hatchling. Our hatchling. She lives within this station. You will return her to us. You will also bring before us the one who saved her life. These things will happen now. There will be no negotiation. There will be no delay." Admiral Torres swallowed hard. She glanced at Commander Keshatar. The Vraxian enforcer stood near the back of the command center. His gray skin had gone even paler. He knew what was coming. "We don't know where the Draconid is," Torres said carefully. "It escaped during capture. We're still searching for it." The temperature in the command center seemed to drop. Ice formed on the view screen. Several officers gasped. Cyraxith's eyes blazed brighter. "You lie poorly, Admiral. We know exactly where our hatchling hides. She has taken refuge in the thermal core of your station. She fears your enforcers. She is frightened and alone. You have 3 of your time units called hours. Bring her to us unharmed. Bring the human called Marcus Chen unharmed, or we will take them ourselves. And your station will not survive the extraction." The transmission ended. The view screen went black. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Nobody moved. They all understood what had just happened. The most powerful dragons in the galaxy had given them an ultimatum, and the Galactic Council, with all its laws and protocols and military might, could do nothing except obey. "Get me the Council immediately," Torres ordered. "And someone bring that janitor up from the holding cells. Now." In his cell, Marcus heard the commotion. Guards ran past his door. Alarms blared. He heard officers shouting orders. Something big was happening. The guards had been talking about ships. Now those ships had apparently made their demands. 2 guards opened his cell door. They looked nervous. One of them fumbled with the lock on Marcus's restraints. "You're being released," the guard said. "Admiral wants to see you." "Released?" Marcus rubbed his wrists where the restraints had been. "Why?" The guard just shook his head. He looked scared. Really scared. That worried Marcus more than anything else. They led Marcus through the station. He saw people running in every direction, scientists, soldiers, civilians. Everyone looked terrified. Through observation windows, Marcus caught glimpses of Earth below. And above Earth, between the station and the planet, he saw them. The dragons. So many dragons. Marcus stopped walking and stared. His breath caught in his throat. They were magnificent. They were impossible. "They were here. Come on," one guard said, pulling at Marcus's arm. "Admiral doesn't like to be kept waiting." They brought Marcus to the command center. Admiral Torres stood in the middle of the room, surrounded by holographic displays. She looked exhausted. When she saw Marcus, her expression was hard to read. "Anger, fear, respect, maybe all 3, Marcus Chen," she said. "Do you know what you've done?" Marcus looked at the view screen, at the dragons waiting outside, at Earth spinning peacefully below, at New Terra Station caught between them all. "I saved a life," he said simply. "I saved Ember." Admiral Torres closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, they were full of something that might have been respect. "Yes," she said quietly. "You did. And now those dragons out there want you. They want to talk to the human who saved one of their own. They want to meet the janitor who risked everything for a creature he didn't even know." Marcus felt his heart racing. Meet the dragons, him? A janitor from the night shift? It seemed impossible. Absurd. But when he looked at the faces around him, he saw that everyone was serious. "This was really happening. What do they want from me?" he asked. Admiral Torres pulled up a holographic recording. It showed Cyraxith's face. "Those ancient, powerful eyes. They want to talk to you," Torres said. "They want to hear your story. And then, Mr. Chen, they want to give you a choice." They brought Marcus to a private communications room. The walls were lined with display screens. In the center was a single chair. Admiral Torres gestured for Marcus to sit. He did. His legs felt weak. His hands shook slightly. He folded them in his lap to hide the trembling. The main screen in front of him flickered to life. Cyraxith appeared. The dragon was even more impressive up close. Her scale seemed to contain entire galaxies. Stars and nebulas swirled in their depths. Her eyes held the weight of millennia. When she looked at Marcus, he felt like she could see everything about him. Every thought. Every memory. Every secret, Marcus Chen, Siraxith said. Her voice resonated in his chest. In his bones. Tell me your story. Tell me how you came to save my granddaughter. Granddaughter. Ember was Siraxith's granddaughter. Marcus took a deep breath. He told the dragon everything. About finding the egg in the waste disposal. About taking it home even though he knew it was against the rules. About staying up all night to keep Ember alive. About watching her grow. About the connection they had formed. Why did you do this? Siraxith asked. You knew the consequences. You knew you would be punished. Why risk everything for a creature you did not know? Marcus thought about his answer. He could lie. He could try to sound noble or heroic. But something told him that Siraxith would know. Dragons like this did not tolerate lies. I had a daughter, Marcus said quietly. She died 5 years ago. I couldn't save her. The doctors tried everything, but nothing worked. I held her hand and watched her die. I felt so helpless, so useless. When I found Ember, I saw a chance to save a life. Maybe I was trying to make up for the life I couldn't save. Maybe I just couldn't stand to see another innocent thing die. I don't know. I just knew I had to try. Siraxith was silent for a long moment. Her eyes seemed to soften. When she spoke again, her voice was gentler. You loved your daughter very much? I still do, Marcus said. His voice broke slightly. Every single day, the dragon nodded slowly. Then I will tell you our story, Marcus Chen. You deserve to know the truth. Centuries ago, the draconids lived openly in this galaxy. We built cities on 1,000 worlds. We shared our knowledge with younger species. We helped civilizations grow and flourish. We believed that all life was precious, that all beings deserved a chance to reach their potential. But the Galactic Council feared us. They feared our power. They feared that we could not be controlled or manipulated. They feared that other species would look to us for leadership instead of to them. So they made a plan. They invited our leaders to a peace conference. They promised friendship and cooperation. And then they attacked. They used weapons designed specifically to kill draconids, weapons that burned hotter than stars. They destroyed our cities. They hunted us across space. They murdered our children in their nests. Marcus felt sick. He thought of Ember, of her innocent eyes, of her playful nature. How could anyone want to kill creatures like that? We fled, Siraxith continued. Those of us who survived retreated to dimensional sanctuaries, hidden places between spaces. We mourned our dead. We watched from hiding as the Council told the galaxy that we were extinct, that we had been too dangerous to live. They made us into monsters in their histories. They erased the truth about what they had done. But we survived. We endured. We waited. We had lost so much. Our civilization, our homes, most of our people. But we still had hope. Hope that someday things would change, that someday we could return. Ember's mother hid her egg in this dimension before she died. She used the last of her strength to send it somewhere safe, somewhere far from the Council's reach. But it was found by a black market trader, stolen, damaged, thrown away like garbage. And then you found her. A human janitor who asked for no reward, who expected no praise, who simply did what was right because it needed to be done. Marcus did not know what to say. The weight of the story pressed down on him. The injustice of it, the cruelty. He thought about all the times he had followed the Council's rules without question. All the times he had assumed that authority meant righteousness. He had been so wrong. Now I will give you a choice, Siraxith said. We will take Ember home with us, back to our sanctuaries where she will be safe, where she can grow strong, where she can learn what it means to be draconid. The Council cannot stop us. They cannot hurt us. We are beyond their reach now. But you, Marcus Chen, are not. They will punish you for what you have done. They will make an example of you. Unless you come with us. Unless you leave this dimension and live among the draconids, as our guest, as our honored friend, as Flamekin. Marcus asked. It is an ancient title, a bond between dragon and non-dragon. It means you are family. It means you are under our protection. No harm will come to you. You will live among us. You will watch Ember grow. You will be part of something greater than yourself. But you will never return to this dimension. You will never see Earth again. You will leave behind everything you know, everyone you know. This is the choice before you. Marcus looked at his hands. He thought about his life, his tiny apartment, his lonely nights, his job cleaning floors that nobody appreciated. He thought about Earth, the planet he had been born on but never really felt connected to. He thought about humanity, about the Galactic Council, about all the rules and regulations and protocols that treated people like Marcus as if they did not matter. Then he thought about Ember, about her curious eyes, about the way she purred when he came home, about the connection they shared. He thought about watching her grow up, about being part of her life, about belonging to something that valued him not for what he did but for who he was. But there was a third option, one that Siraxith had not mentioned. Marcus could see it clearly now, a way forward that might change everything. I have a different proposal, Marcus said. His voice was steady now, strong. Let Ember choose. She's young, but she's smart. Let her decide if she wants to stay with me or go with you. And if she chooses to stay, let me keep her here in this dimension, on Earth, but under your protection. Make it clear to the Galactic Council that Ember is not extinct, that Draconids are not extinct, that you're watching, that you're waiting, that any harm done to Ember or to me will bring consequences they cannot imagine. The Council needs to see that they don't control everything, that there are beings more powerful than they are. Beings who will not tolerate injustice. Let humanity know the truth about what was done to your people. Let other species know. The Council maintains power through fear and lies. Take that power away. Show the galaxy that another way is possible. Siraxith stared at Marcus for a long time. Her expression was unreadable. Then slowly she began to smile. It was a terrifying smile, full of teeth and fire, but also full of respect. You are either very brave or very foolish, Marcus Chen. Perhaps both. But you are also right. The Council has hidden in darkness for too long. It is time for light. Time for truth. Very well. We will do as you suggest. Ember will choose. And whichever path she takes, the Draconids will make their presence known. The age of hiding is over. The screen went dark. Marcus sat in silence. What had he just done? He had potentially changed the fate of the entire galaxy. Him, a janitor. It seemed impossible, but it had happened. And now there was no going back. They found Ember in the thermal core exactly where Siraxith had said she would be. She was curled up near the heat exchangers. Her scales had turned a deep red color to match the environment. When she saw Marcus, her whole body lit up. She bounded toward him and nearly knocked him over with her enthusiasm. She was even bigger now, almost the size of a small car. But she was still his Ember, still the creature he had saved. Easy, girl, Marcus said, laughing despite everything. He wrapped his arms around her neck. She was warm, almost too warm, but he did not care. I missed you too. Admiral Torres and a team of officials watched from a safe distance. They looked nervous, afraid. Marcus understood why. They had tried to kill Ember. They had arrested him. And now they had to face the consequences. The dragons were still waiting outside. Patient. Watching. Judging. They transported Marcus and Ember to the observation deck, the largest open space on the station. Through the massive windows, Earth hung below them like a blue and green jewel. And above, filling the sky from horizon to horizon, the dragons waited. There were so many. Marcus could see them more clearly now. Ancient beings, powerful beyond measure, each one unique, different colors, different sizes, all magnificent. A transport shuttle appeared outside the station. It was unlike any ship Marcus had ever seen. It seemed to be made of crystallized light. It docked with the observation deck. A portal opened. Warm air rushed in. It smelled like cinnamon and lightning. And then Siraxith stepped through, in person, in her true form. She was immense. Her head nearly touched the ceiling of the observation deck. Her wings were folded against her body, but Marcus could see they would span the entire width of the room if extended. Her scales were like living opals, every color imaginable flowing across her surface. Power radiated from her like heat from a star. Everyone in the room fell back. Even Admiral Torres retreated. Only Marcus stood his ground. And Ember rushed to Siraxith. The ancient dragon lowered her head. Ember touched her nose to Siraxith's. They stayed like that for a long moment. Marcus could feel energy passing between them. Communication on a level he could not understand. Then Ember turned and looked at Marcus, then back at Syraxith, then back at Marcus again. She was choosing, right now, in this moment, between her own kind and the human who had saved her. Marcus felt his heart breaking. He wanted her to choose him, wanted it desperately, but he also knew that she belonged with her people, with dragons who could teach her, who could protect her properly, who could give her everything she needed. Choose what is best for you, Marcus said softly. Not what is best for me. I will always love you, no matter what you decide. Ember made a sound, part growl, part purr, part cry. She walked to Marcus, pressed her head against his chest. Then she walked back to Syraxith, then back to Marcus. She was torn. Marcus could see it, feel it. She loved them both. Syraxith watched with ancient eyes, then she spoke. Her voice filled the entire observation deck. There is another way. Ember is young. She needs time to grow, time to learn about both worlds, her dragon heritage and the world of other beings. She can stay with you, Marcus Chen, for now. But she will also visit us, learn from us. We will establish a presence in your solar system, not hidden, not in sanctuaries, but here, in your dimension. We will build a home on one of your outer planets. We will watch over Ember, and we will watch over you, and we will show the Galactic Council that the age of their tyranny is ending. The officials in the room looked terrified. This was beyond anything they had authority to approve. But Admiral Torres stepped forward. She looked at Marcus, at Ember, at Syraxith. Then she did something that shocked everyone. She bowed. Not a slight nod. A full, formal bow of respect. On behalf of humanity, she said, we welcome the Draconids to our solar system, and we apologize for the crimes committed against your people by the Galactic Council. We were ignorant. We believed their lies. But we will believe them no longer. Syraxith regarded the Admiral for a long moment. Then she nodded. That is acceptable. Know this. We hold humanity blameless. You were not part of the genocide. You did not know, but you have a choice now. Will you stand with justice or with the council that has deceived you? Admiral Torres did not hesitate. We stand with justice. Then humanity has earned our friendship, the first species to do so in centuries. Guard it well. Over the next few hours, everything changed. The Galactic Council tried to protest. They sent messages demanding that the dragons leave, that Ember be destroyed, that Marcus be arrested. But their messages were ignored. Nobody was listening to them anymore. When you threaten beings who can cross dimensions, who have lived for millions of years, who command power beyond comprehension, your authority becomes meaningless. News of what had happened spread across Earth, across the solar system, across the galaxy. The truth about the Draconid genocide, the revelation that they still existed, the fact that they had returned because of one human's compassion. It changed everything. Species that had feared the Council began to question, to resist, to demand answers. The Council's power, built on lies and intimidation, began to crack. Marcus was offered many things: money, fame, political positions. He refused them all. He asked for only one thing: to continue living in his apartment, to continue his simple life. But now with Ember by his side, and without fear of arrest, the station administrators agreed immediately. They gave him a larger apartment, a modest salary increase, and made it clear that both he and Ember were under full protection. The dragons built their settlement on Neptune, a crystalline city that gleamed in the darkness, beautiful and alien and impossible. They came and went through dimensional portals. Some visited Earth, walked among humans, shared their knowledge, taught willing students. For the first time, in centuries, Draconids were part of the galactic community again. Not hiding, not hunted, just living, just being. Ember grew. She visited her people regularly. She learned the history of the Draconids, the language, the customs, the ancient powers that slept in her blood. But she always came back to Marcus. Her scales would glow bright when she saw him. She would make that happy purring sound. And Marcus would smile. Really smile. The way he had not smiled since his daughter died. 6 months after the dragons arrived, Marcus stood on the observation deck. He held a cup of coffee. He was not working. He had the day off. Ember was visiting her grandmother on Neptune. She would be back tomorrow. For now, Marcus was alone, but not lonely. Never lonely anymore. He looked out at Earth, at the dragons flying lazy circles around the planet, at the ships coming and going from the station, at all the life and activity and hope. He thought about how strange life was, how one small choice could change everything. He had been a janitor, an invisible man who cleaned floors, and now he was Flamekin. Dragon friend, bridge between species, guardian of the most important dragon in the galaxy. Admiral Torres joined him at the window. She stood beside him in comfortable silence for a moment. "You changed the world," she said finally. Marcus shook his head. "I just did what anyone should do. I saved a life. Everything else just happened." The Admiral smiled. "That is what makes you special, Mr. Chen. You do not see yourself as special. You do not understand that most people would not have done what you did. They would have followed the rules. They would have looked the other way. They would have let Ember die. But not you. You saw a life that needed saving and you saved it, without hesitation, without thought for the cost. That is what heroism really is." Marcus did not know what to say. He had never thought of himself as a hero, just as a father who had lost his daughter, just as a man who could not stand to see another innocent thing die. But maybe that was enough. Maybe that was what humanity was really about, not following rules blindly, not accepting injustice, but doing what was right even when it was hard, even when it was dangerous, even when nobody was watching. Outside the window, a dragon flew past. It was smaller than the others. Young. Its scales shimmered with all the colors of morning. It looked toward the observation deck, toward Marcus, and even from this distance Marcus knew it was Ember. She had come home early, because she missed him, because she wanted to be with him, because he was her family just as much as the other dragons were. Marcus smiled and raised his hand. Ember twirled in space, a joyful loop. Then she flew toward the docking bay. She would be here soon. They would sit together. She would tell him about her lessons. He would tell her about his day. And they would be happy, together. Dragon and human. Flamekin and hatchling. Family. The sky belonged to dragons now, but it also belonged to everyone else who chose compassion over cruelty, justice over tyranny, love over fear. Marcus Chen, the janitor who saved a dying infant, had shown the galaxy that even the smallest person could make the biggest difference. That kindness was stronger than any weapon. That one life saved could save 1,000,000 more. And in a universe full of rules and protocols and systems designed to keep everyone in their proper place, that was the most revolutionary act of all.